So I was thinking of today, we usually, well, quite often we'll do warrior poses, but I was thinking we'll do all 4 warriors. There's actually 4 warrior poses, so we'll do that as part of the practice. There's a warrior 1, warrior 2, warrior 3, and the 4th one is actually called reverse warrior. The Sanskrit names, Virabhadrasana 1, Virabhadrasana 2, Virabhadrasana 3, and I'll have to look at researchers what Sanskrit is for the reverse warrior. So, dedications for today. So it's not really a dedication for me. It's sort of a hope. You know, we've what's been in the news recently is this tragedy in Minneapolis. So let's just hope something good comes from it. It's not happening yet, but sometimes good does come from a tragedy. Unfortunately, that's the way things happen sometimes. Obviously, there's a lot of upset. A lot of people are upset about the situation, which is understandable. Anyway, so let's get on with the practice. So, as I say, we're going to focus on the warrior poses a little bit. Maybe we'll do a little bit of core as well at the beginning of the class after we've done a little breathing. So just sort of sit nice and comfortably, getting length in the spine. Chin tucked slightly, head back, and then just rest the hands on the legs. Eyes closed and focus on the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose, long, slow, deep breaths. As you inhale, feel that air, feel that oxygen, fill the lungs, expand the ribs. Exhale through the nose, make the exhale just as long as the inhale. Long, slow, deep breaths. Start taking a pause at the top of each inhale for a second or two. Inhaling. A slight pause. And then exhale. Inhale. A slight pause. And then exhale. 2-3 more times at your pace. So we're going to do some core work, not strictly yoga, but we've done these before and it really helps with the yoga poses. So we're going to come onto our backs, and this is a set of routines that we've done before, but just to slightly recap, we'll be on our backs, and we'll keep the knees bent a lot, and we'll just bring the knees in and down. We'll do that a few times, and then one leg straight, one knee bent, and we'll switch. We'll do that a few times. And then we'll do the same with the legs, but we'll add the arms. You're keeping the head down all the time, you're keeping the back low, you're keeping the core nice and strong. And then maybe we'll do some side crunches. And then finally we'll bring the legs up and we'll go from side to side. So let's start off with the feet on the ground. Knees are bent, arms either side of you, or you can rest the hands on the belly if you want. And back is low to the ground, gaze towards the ceiling, and just move with the breath. I don't care whether you inhale or exhale as the knees come in, but just make sure you're breathing and you're bringing the knees in, you lightly touch the ground, and then you bring the knees back in again. And the slower you go, the more you feel you're having to work on this one. Just bringing the knees in, and then slowly taking the legs down. Feel that core working on this one. So the strong core really helps with a lot of the other poses, especially if we, we did crow in one session. Helps with the plank to keep the back nice and safe. Then now what we're going to do, we're going to straighten one leg. The straight leg is low, the other knee is well bent, and then we're going to switch. So you're trying to move the legs at the same time, so they cross sort of halfway. Again, we're keeping the back nice and low, keeping the legs pretty low. Working a little bit harder on this one. And you're breathing, please don't hold the breath. And then we're going to add arms, so as one knee comes in, the opposite arm is going over the head. So we're synchronizing the movement of the arms and the legs as well. Again, pretty slow, don't go too fast. As I say, if you go slow, you can feel that you're working a little bit harder. And if you need to stop at any time, that's just fine. Let's see if you can do a few more, that would be good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you bring the feet down to the ground. And just relax for a breath or two before we do the side crunches. So side crunches, I'm bringing the hands behind the head, and I'm just lightly supporting the head. And as one knee comes in, you pull the opposite elbow to the knee. And usually I'll come in on the exhale. Inhale, and then exhale as the knee comes in. I go a little bit faster on this one. You're trying to touch the knee with the elbow. And don't forget, if you need to stop at any time, take a little break and then restart, that's fine. Just do what feels good for you. So these, you can do quite a lot of these, and it starts off pretty easy. But the more you do, it gets a little bit challenging. I used to be in the routine of doing this like every other day, but I've got out of that routine, that habit. So let's see if we can do another 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then totally relax. So if these are tough, you've got a weak core, and then your body's telling you need to practice that more. Maybe try every other day until they're a little bit more comfortable. You'd be amazed at what difference it would make. So next, arms either side. This time the arms are going to go out about 45 degrees. We bring the legs up to the ceiling. So we're trying to keep the legs pretty straight. We'll take the legs halfway down to one side, back to center, halfway down to the other side. And we're going to go slowly, and the arms are really helping to go down slow and to help us bring the legs back up. So you want to go far enough so there's a challenge, but not too far. You don't want to be too difficult to get the legs back up. We're trying to keep the legs and the torso at a 90-degree angle. So you don't want the legs sort of 45 degrees like that. So I'm trying to keep the legs 90 degrees as you go from side to side. And we're still breathing. And the arms, as I say, are helping a lot so that you can go down slow and to help you bring the legs back up. A couple more times each side. 1, 2, one last time, 3, and then if you can, keep the legs straight as we slowly lower the legs. Nice and slow, engage that core like crazy, slower as you get lower, and then you're going to bring the arms over the head. So another good one is just keeping the legs straight and bringing them up and down. But you have to be careful with that one because the legs are acting more like a leverage. So it's this kind of thing. So the legs are coming down. We have to work really hard to keep the back low and to keep the back safe on that one. So we'll save that. We'll do more of that another time. Pull the knees in. take hold of the back of the legs, lift the head up, and we're just going to rock ourselves up. We're going to continue doing a little bit more core stuff, but this time, what we're going to do, we're going to come onto the mat and come into Sphinx. So Sphinx, the forearms are down, forearms are parallel. A little bit of variation is we're going to make fists with the hands. We tuck the toes, we tuck the chin, and we lift the hips up. So we're trying to get a nice straight line. So you're working hard on this one. If you need to bring the knees down, if it bothers the lower back, knees come down to the ground. You engage in the core, you're breathing. Arms are pushed into the ground, shoulders up towards the ceiling. You're breathing. Don't forget, if you hold the breath, you're probably trying too hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we come all the way down, and we totally relax just for a breath or two. We're back into Sphinx, forearms parallel, and we walk the knees in. Now this time we're going to transition into Dolphin. You can keep the forearms parallel, or if you want, you can bring the palms together. You tuck the toes, you bring the hips up. Knees bent, I usually keep the knees bent in Dolphin. So we start off, shoulders are over the elbows, but then we try and straighten out, try to pull the shoulders back, trying to straighten that line out, elbows, shoulders, hips forming a straight line. Nice shoulder opener. Chin is tucked, you're looking towards the belly button. You're breathing, back is neutral, which is why we keep the knees slightly bent. But if you can keep the legs, the back neutral with the legs straight, you can try that if you want, but I usually keep the knees bent. And then we bring the knees down. And after Dolphin, I like to do a bit of a back bend. So I bring the hands behind me. Fingers are lined up with the toes, chin is tucked, elbows are in. And I'm really trying to work opening the chest to begin with the chin tucked. Then slowly lower the head. Keep the neck happy. And if you want, you can bring those hips up. And you take a breath or two. And from here we transition into child's pose. Sit bones down, and we just slide the hands forward and bringing the head down to the ground. And we can just relax. The arms are totally relaxed. You're just feeling a gentle stretch in the back on this one. And then we slowly come back. We come onto our hands and knees. And we're just going to go straight into downward facing dog. And we're going to bring the feet. So the feet are going to be pretty close. There's about an inch or two between the big toes. And we just walk the dog. Walking slowly, just bending one knee as you straighten the opposite leg. Gaze is still towards the belly. You're moving slowly. You're just stretching the calf muscles out. A slow walk, keeping the toes on the ground. And I'm usually exhaling as I push, as I straighten the leg. Inhale as I come out. Exhale as I come down. Let's try going a little bit slower. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. If you go slower, you can start feeling that stretch a little bit more. You can give the calf muscle time to stretch out. And then we're going to look forward. We walk forward between the hands. We inhale halfway up, looking up. Exhale, folding forward, head relaxed. Inhale, breath core brings us up. Don't forget you can come up, you can come down with the knees bent if you need to. Half salute. So half salute. We inhale the arms up. We look up to the ceiling. We're trying to get as much length as we can. We exhale, we're hinging at the hips, folding forward and down, head relaxed. Inhale, halfway up, flat back. Exhale, we fold forward again. Inhale, breath core brings us up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Reach up as much as you can. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale as we fold forward. Inhale, coming up. Legs can be straight or knees bent. Exhale, Samastiti. One more. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Reach up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale as we fold forward again. Inhale, we come up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, arms up. We're going to add a bit of a side stretch. We're going to lean over to one side. We inhale up and we exhale over to the other side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now this time I'm going to hold one side, so we exhale over to one side and we hold for 2 or 3 breaths. So we're trying to keep the whole body facing the screen. So try not to let that top shoulder come forward. Trying to be in one plane. And we're looking up towards the ceiling. We go a little deeper on the exhale. So I'm trying to shift my hips over as I lean over. Inhale up. Exhale to the other side. And don't forget to breathe. Inhale, come up. Let's take a little bit of a back bend. We're going to try and get as much length as we can. We're trying to keep the arms either side of the ears. We engage the glutes. And we gently take a backward bend. Keep the back happy. And we keep the core working. We come up and we're going to fold forward. We're going to bend the knees and we're going to take the feet apart. So the feet are apart maybe 6-7 inches. You're going to take hold of the big toes. Knees bent. Head is relaxed, you're looking between the legs. You're going to rest the belly on the legs, knees bent. You're putting yourself towards the ground and you're just going to straighten the legs just a little bit, just so you're getting a little bit of stretch at the back of the legs. Nothing too intense. Back should be comfy. The closer the belly is towards the thighs, the safer the back is. And then we slowly can come back up. If just stand in mountain pose, standing pose for a minute. What happens is a lot of people will be like this with a huge space here. And it can put a little bit of pressure on the back. So I always tell people to try and bend the knees, bring the belly in nice and close. And you try and keep that contact between the belly and the legs as you straighten the legs. That'll keep the back nice and safe. Come to the front of the mat. We come into chair. So the feet are together probably, or hip distance apart, just keep the feet parallel. Knees are bent. We bring the arms up, or you can tap the arms forward if it's easier on the shoulders. Synchronize the breath. Inhale. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We come into plank. We'll hold plank for a breath or two. This is the full plank. I know a lot of you don't like plank, but it's a really good pose to strengthen the core. In plank, 2 things. If the hips are down, it puts pressure on the back, so keep the hips neutral. If the hips are up, it makes it too easy. So we're trying to get a neutral hip. Next thing, hands are pushed into the ground, shoulders up towards the ceiling. So you don't want to sink like this between the shoulder blades. So we're lifting that area up between the shoulders up towards the ceiling. You're looking directly at the ground. If you need to take a break, knees can come down. Side plank. We bring one hand to center. We stack the feet. You bring the other arm up. We don't plank. I do plank quite a lot. Top foot can be down as an option to make it a little bit easier, more accessible, or you can have the bottom knee down. If you want more challenge, the top leg comes up. You can even hold on to the big toe of that top leg and bring that leg up to the ceiling. It's quite a challenge. And then we switch. We're back in plank and we do side plank on the other side. Stacking the arms, top foot could be down or the bottom knee, or if you want more challenge, you can bring the leg up, or you can even hold on to the big toe and you bring that leg up to the ceiling. We bring the leg down, we're back in plank, knees down, and we sit on the heels. So don't forget, you guys are all different levels, so just do what feels good for you. If we're doing poses that your body just sort of objects to, just skip it, which is fine. You can just rest in child's pose whenever you like. In fact, we're going to do that now. So just fold forward, sitting on the heels, and just totally relax. And then we slowly come up. So we're going to work our way into the warrior poses. Come back into downward facing dog. Look forward, walk forward between the hands. Inhale halfway up. Exhale folding forward. Inhale coming all the way up. Exhale Samasthiti. So what we'll go into down dog, we'll do reverse warrior, which is, no, we'll do extended down dog. Forget that. We won't do reverse warrior straight away. We'll do extended down dog, then we'll get into warrior 1, warrior 2. Let's see how it goes. Bend the knees. Inhale into chair. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We're back into plank. Elbows stay in as we bring the knees down, chin chest forward and down, inhaling into cobra, exhale, downward facing dog. So hold down dog for a bit. So we could go into warrior 1 from here, but what we're going to do, we're going to go into extended down dog first. So we bring the right leg up, inhaling, stretching that leg forward, and then on the exhale, we bring the top foot between the hands. I readjust the back foot so the feet make a 45-degree angle, and then we bring the arms up. So this is warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. So the back leg is straight. If you draw a straight line, front heel to the back heel, that line would intersect the back heel. You want to keep that front knee over the front ankle. If you want to add a back bend in warrior 1, you can bring the palms together, you look up. Transition into warrior 2. So we basically just readjust the back foot. So I have the feet now at 90 degrees. I'm keeping the front knee over the front ankle. And I'll start walking. If you want to go deeper, I start walking that front foot forward. Never bring that front knee forward of the ankle. You're also keeping the torso vertical. You don't want to start leaning forward like that. Keep that body vertical. Reverse warrior. We flip that right hand, the front arm, bring that arm up, other hand slides down the back leg, reverse warrior. And you're getting a really nice side stretch on this one. The legs are just as they were in warrior 2. Then we transition to the other side. We come into plank, chaturanga on knees, chin, chest to ground, inhaling into cobra or up dog, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the other leg up, extended down dog, and on the exhale we bring that foot forward, back foot 45 degrees, and we come into warrior 1. Bit of a back bend, and don't forget to breathe. So the feet this time, as I say, they're making like a 45-degree angle. It doesn't have to be precise. And on the exhale, warrior 2. So I'll readjust the back foot, I'll look over the front knee. You check that front knee is nicely lined up with the centre of the foot. Arms are parallel, and you're working those legs. Reverse warrior. And then we come back into plank. Chaturanga, inhaling to up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then we look forward, we jump or walk forward. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, folding forward, head relaxed. Knees bent, we come back into chair. And then we come all the way up. So what we're going to do next, we're going to go into a lunge. And then we're going to do Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. If you have back issues, you're just going to do a Warrior 3 prep. We'll all start in the prep, and then we'll go into the full Warrior 3, except for people that have any concerns with their back. It's useful having a block, you don't have to. So what we're going to do, let me just demo Warrior 3, and then we'll flow into it from the lunge. But the Warrior 3 is after we come into a lunge, we'll come into a high lunge, and we'll have the block in front, and then we'll bring the leg up. This is a Warrior 3 prep. What happens a lot is people will bring that top hip up like this. So you want to keep both hips parallel to the ground. What we're trying to get is like a T position with the body. And once this is the prep, you're going to stay here as well as the back, and then we're going to bring the arms up like that into a T, or if you want, you can take the arms back to like a jet plane. It's a challenge. We're going to work our way into that from the lunge. Into chair. Come to the front of the mat, knees bent. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We come into plank. Chaturanga or knees chin chest to ground, keeping the elbows in. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Extended down dog. Exhale, we sweep that foot through. Back knee comes down. So we're just taking our time. Sometimes I won't bother with the knee down. I'll go straight into Warrior 3. Take your time. You bring the hands on the ground. Back knee comes up. You bring the back leg up. You bring the hands underneath the shoulders. You're trying to get the hips nice and even. Warrior 3 prep. If you have a block is useful, but you don't have to have the block. And then if you want to come into the full Warrior 3, you bring the arms up. It's a challenge, keep the back safe. And don't forget to breathe. You bring the hands down. We come back into the lunge, and we take a breath or two. Warrior 3 is not actually my favourite pose. In fact, but sometimes you have to do poses you don't like, because you gain something from doing poses you don't like. But it's a challenge, but not my favourite. Come back into plank. Chaturanga, inhaling into up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up to the ceiling. Extended down dog, getting that length. Exhale, you sweep that foot through, back knee comes down. We're just sort of taking our time here. And then we're going to bring the knee up. We're going to hop that back foot in. We bring the hands under the shoulders, and we come into the prep, Warrior 3 prep. Standing leg is working, this leg is straight. You're trying to keep the hips equidistant to the ground. And then you're going to bring the arms up. I'm just going to hop back a bit so I'm in the full view here. As I say, hips are even to the ground, and whenever you're ready, you bring the arms up. Balance is a challenge sometimes, or you can take the arms back like a jet plane, if that's a little bit easier. I find this a little bit easier on the shoulders. And then we bring the hands down, back foot down, we're back in the lunge. And then we come back into plank, chaturanga, inhaling into up dog, exhale, downward facing dog, take a breath or two. Downward facing dog, feeling good now. Chin tucked, you're looking at the belly, arms are active, hands pushed into the mat, armpits towards the ground, breathe. So while we're here, let's do another lunge. Let's bring the right leg up again. And we'll sweep it through. We're back into the low lunge. I think we might have done these lunges last week. And then we're going to bring the hands down. We walk that front foot forward an inch or two. And on the exhale, we just start to extend that front leg. Take your time. Walk the hands in a little bit closer. We're getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch. So in this one, I'm trying to keep this foot flexed, this front foot. I'm trying to engage the quads, but if this is too much on the back of the leg, you can keep the knee bent, do whatever it takes. Some of us are like this. Eventually we're going to straighten the leg. And you're breathing. So to switch, all we're going to do is we're just going to rotate through 180 and we're going to come back into the lunge on the other side. So the lunge gives us a stretch on the front of that back leg, stretching out the quads. And once we've taken a few breaths there, we can stretch out the hamstring. I usually walk that front foot forward an inch or two. And I come into the stretch on the exhale. Kneecap toes up towards the ceiling, front foot flexed, dorsiflexion, and you're just feeling a nice stretch at the back of that leg. Hold that for a breath or two. And then we're back into the lunge. This time we go through 90 degrees, you're facing the screen. Feet pretty wide, hands over the shoulders, and we're just going to bend one knee as we straighten the opposite leg. And we're going to move from side to side with the breath. Inhale up, exhale over. Inhale, exhale. You're keeping the hands on the ground, you're not moving the hands. You're just working on the legs mainly. And you're going pretty slow. Every time you straighten that leg, that foot of that straight leg is pushed, the outer edge is pushed into the ground. So you don't want to come up like that onto the inside the edge of the foot. Keep that foot pushed into the ground. And then we're going to hold one side. Inhale up, exhale over to the other side. So let's try this. Both legs are straight. See how this goes. Take your time. So we're going to walk both hands over to one foot. So I'm walking over to the left foot. So I'm going to take hold of the left ankle with the right hand. Left hand is above the right hand. I'm going to lean a little bit more on the toes, and I'm starting to bring that right elbow towards the ground. Head is starting to lower, chin tucked, you're breathing. And then we come up. Good leg stretch and a gentle stretch in the back. As I say, if it's too much in the back, just take it easy, don't let it hurt, please. Over to the other side, I'm taking hold of the outside of the right ankle with the left hand. Right hand is on the leg, just above the left hand. And I'm trying to tuck the chin, I'm looking between the legs, and I'm bringing that left elbow closer to the ground. And I'm bringing a little bit more weight onto the toes as well. And then we slowly come back up. And then we're going to start walking the feet in, heel toe, heel toe. And then we're just going to bring our knees down to the ground and sit on the mat. So I feel a stretch when I do that pose, when I'm taking hold of one ankle. I feel a stretch in the lower back on one side. It feels a good stretch. It doesn't hurt, but just a nice stretch there. So that works for me. So we've done Warrior 1, we've done all the Warriors. As I say, Warrior 3 is a bit of a challenge, and you've got to be careful that it doesn't bother your back, so just take care on that one. Let's come back into a standing pose. We're going to do standing pigeon. We've done this before. If you have a block or a book, you can have that in front of you. So we're going to balance on the left foot, and you bring the other foot on top. So the standing leg, the knee is bent a lot. This top foot, dorsiflexion. You're not pointing the toes, you're flexing the foot, and you're just going to rest the hands on that top leg. And you're going to feel a stretch on the outside of that hip. So the lower you go, the more you bend that knee, the more you're going to feel that stretch. The block is there in case you want to go lower, just to help you keep the balance. And if you can get your fingers to the ground, you know that's a little bit more work, a little bit more stretch. So you don't have to do that. You can just you can stay higher if you prefer, if the body is happy with that. Good stretch, good hip stretch. And then we're going to switch. You bend in, you're on the other foot, you're bending the knee of the standing leg, top foot is flexed. Start off just resting the hands on the legs. Always go slowly into a pose, don't go straight into your maximum stretch. Just take your time, and you'll know how deep you can go. It'll keep the body safe. You won't injure yourselves. Usually what happens if people say, oh, I was doing yoga and I hurt my back or something, it's because they probably were a little bit too aggressive with themselves. They were maybe competing with people, they didn't, went too fast into a pose. And then slowly come up. And we all do it, I've done it. You want to sort of get into these fancy poses and you just hurt yourself. Come back to the front of the mat. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, folding forward and down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, we plant the hands. We're back into plank. Chaturanga, inhaling to up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring the knees down. Let's lie on the mat. So what I like about yoga is that we're working the whole body. Unlike some other sports where like tennis, for instance, we're just working on one side. Like golf, you're just working on one side. So it takes a bit of balance out of the body. So yoga is trying to bring that balance back. We work the core, the belly, so we're going to do the bit on the back, the glutes and the lower back muscles. So let's just rest the head down on the ground or the hands, and we're just going to bring one leg up. You're trying to keep the leg straight, doesn't go up too far, and we're just going to pulse the leg, just lift it up and down a few times. And then we're going to keep the leg up, we'll just keep it still. Take a few breaths here. And we'll release, relax. You should be feeling the glutes, lower back muscles working. Other leg comes up, not too high. And then we just pulse the leg. And then we hold that leg still for a few breaths. And then we slow the leg, just relax. And then we bring both legs up. We bring the arms either side of us So the palms are facing up, you lift the arms up, the chest up. Core is engaged, you don't have to go too high if it bars up. If it does bother the lower back, just engage the core, see if that helps. If it still bothers the back, go a little bit lower. If it still bothers the back, don't do it, remember. Keep yourself happy. And then we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to take hold of the ankles or the feet. So this one, Dhanurasana. We've done this before. This opens the chest, so we're lifting the head up. We're opening the chest, the legs are going to do the work. Try not to let the knees splay out. Try and keep the legs parallel as you're pulling the legs back and then up towards the ceiling. You're breathing. Legs are working a lot. Pushing the legs back and up towards the ceiling. Breathe. Work those legs. Lift them a little bit higher. And then slowly come down and totally relax, resting one side of the face on the mat. Take a few breaths. Head back to center. One more time, if you want. So you can hold on to the inside of the ankles, or some people like to hold on to the feet just below the toes. You lift the chest up, you engage the core, you work the legs, lifting those legs up, you breathe. Can you lift the legs up a bit higher, looking up, and then slowly come down, and you rest the other side of the face on the mat. Head back to center, hands under the shoulders, and we come into child's pose. So this version of child's pose, I would have the knees together, toes together. We're bringing the head down to the ground, support the head with the hands on the block. If you can get the head on the block or the mat, you can bring the arms either side of you and just totally relax. And then we come back up. Onto the hands and knees. Downward facing dog. We're going to work our way into pigeon. We bring the right leg up. Extended down dog. We bring that right knee forward, close to the right wrist. Center the knee if you have any groin issues, or if it's too much on the groin. Raise pigeon. We're opening the chest, we're tucking the toes, we're walking that foot back. Try and keep both hips nice and even, and then come into extended pigeon, you bring in the head down to the ground. So just like the standing pigeon, we're getting the stretch on the outside of the hip. Just hanging there, just staying in the extended pigeon. I'm just going to move through 90, you don't have to move, you just stay where you are. So, coming to raised pigeon. So this pigeon is nice, you can hang out in pigeon for a while, gravity's doing all the work for you. But you want to remember the hips are nice and even, so we don't want to lean over to one side or the other side. If the hips are equidistant to the ground, it keeps the spine in a nice straight line. There's no kink in the spine. We haven't done many twists, so we're going to try a little twist while we're in pigeon. So just see how this goes. It's a little bit challenging. So if your right knee is forward, you're going to take the left arm. So I'm trying to get the elbow, just above the elbow, onto that right leg. And then I bring the palms together, and push. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge, people will lose the balance here. Just do what you can. If you need to, if you have a block, you can bring the elbow onto a block, or you can just bring the forearm onto the ground like that. But what is, if you can get the arm onto that leg, you can get a little bit of a leverage, so you can get into a bit of a deeper twist there. And we take a bit, 3 or 4 breaths in a twist. Usually when we're going into a twist or different pose, 3 or 4 breaths is good. Longer if you want. If I'm doing my own practice, it just depends how I feel. Sometimes I'm in a pose and it feels good and I just hang in there for quite a while sometimes. After this, I usually come into downward facing dog and walk the dog. It feels good to stretch that leg out. And then we take pigeon on the other side. We bring the left leg up, extended down dog, and then we bring the knee forward. Take your time. If this bothers the knee, pull the knee in, keep that foot in nice and close. If it still bothers the knee, then recline pigeon. We've done recline pigeon. Recline pigeon is basically you're on the back, but you're pulling that knee in. You should know what recline pigeon is. So that's an alternative if this bothers the knee. Extended pigeon, walking the arms forward, and you're resting the head on the mat, or you can stack the hand, rest the head on the hands. So just relax here for a few breaths. Come back up into raised pigeon. So let's just talk about pigeon for a bit. So I usually keep that foot, so my left foot is close to my right hip. If you get the shin more parallel to the edge of the mat, you can get into a deeper hip stretch, which you could try that if you want, but it potentially can put more pressure on the knee. So if you have any knee concerns or you feel too much pressure on the knee, keep the foot in nice and close. But you can play around with the position of that leg at your leisure. So we're going to take the twist. So you can use the block, you can bring the elbow to the ground, or you can bring the elbow, the upper arm slightly onto the knee to get a little bit of a leverage. You bring the palms together. It's a little bit like chair twist with pushing the arm into the legs and you're breathing. And as I say, sometimes people lose the balance on this one. So just go into it slowly, try and keep that balance. And then we come out of it and we're going to come back into down dog, walk the dog. And then we're going to come forward, we're going to come into a seated position. Let's do a seated twist, doesn't matter if we do extra twists. So let's talk about seated twists. And knees again. So if you have a problem with the knee, instead of pulling the foot in like this, you can just keep that leg straight. Or if you just prefer it straight, that's just fine. To get deeper into the twist, the foot comes outside the leg. You can hug the knee, or you can bring the arm outside the leg to get more leverage. I usually start hugging the knee, I get tall, and then I bring the arm outside. Now the problem with the arm outside, sometimes if you look at my shoulders, the shoulders hunch up. You're trying to keep those shoulders relaxed, so if you can't relax them, just hug the knee. The hand is behind you. You inhale, getting taller, and then you look over that back shoulder towards the back of the room. Take about 3 breaths. Inhale, we come out. And sometimes we'll just rotate through 180, or we can just switch the legs. So we're going to do it the easy way today. Leg is straight, or you can bring the foot in. I start off hugging the knee. I get a little bit of leverage. I sometimes get a little bit of friction between the belly and the legs. Have to loosen up there a little bit too. And then if you want, you can bring that arm outside the leg and take about 3 or 4 breaths here. Trying to keep those shoulders down. Try not to hunch out the shoulders. And then we come out of that twist. And usually after the twists, I like to come onto my back. Knees are pulled in nice and close and just rock from side to side. Then we can bring the feet down to the ground. Knees are bent, the feet are wider than hips. Arms either side of you. And we're just going to take the knees over from side to side, just like windshield wipers. Well, again, we're moving with the breath. Inhale as the knees come up, exhale as they go down. Inhale up, exhale down. We center the knees come in nice and close. And we're going to come into happy baby. So the feet are wider than, feet pretty wide. So the knees are outside the ribs, so you're trying to get the knees closer and closer towards the ground. A lot of arm strength on this one. I'm trying to keep the tailbone as low as I can, so you don't want to keep the hips up like this. Try and get that tailbone down with the knees bent. And if you want to try and straighten the legs or get them a little bit straighter, they come into a V position. And then we're going to bend the knees. Make sure you're holding onto the big toes. Palms are facing each other. And if you have enough room, what we're going to do is we're just going to rock backwards and forwards, get a little bit of momentum, and we're going to see if we can balance on the sit bones without the feet coming down to the ground. And we extend the legs into a V again. You're trying to get the back nice and neutral. And then we're going to roll back again and then come up, but this time extend the legs. But this time the legs are together. Before they were in a V, now they're together. And then we're going to come down one more time. And this time hold onto the back of the calf muscles. Bring the legs up, and then this time we can pull the legs in a little bit closer maybe. Eventually, the whole body, the head, it's going to be touching the legs. And then we're going to come onto our backs and stretch out as much as you can. Take a full body stretch. Arms extended, legs extended. Trying to get as much length as you can. And then take a little bit of a side stretch. So we're shifting the hips in one direction, arms, legs in the other direction, getting into that crescent shape, the shape of a banana. Take 3 or 4 breaths here. And then we stretch out the other side of the body. And then we recenter. And if you want to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, you walk the feet in. You bring the soles of the feet together. Eyes are closed. And the hands, you can just rest the arms, the hands on the ground, on the belly, or if you want, you can rest the hands on the legs, just gently encouraging the legs open. This should be comfortable for the hips. If it bothers the hips, a couple of things you can do. If you have two blocks, you can put something underneath the knees to support the knees. If it does bother the hips, just come out of the pose. So just relax here for a few breaths. And then Shavasana. We extend the legs. So I've got about a foot or two between the feet. I bring the arms outside of the body, so the arms are out about 20-30 degrees, palms are facing up. Chin tucks, get length in the neck. And just totally relax here. Just let the whole body sink into the ground. And sometimes, it's good to check things out, just make sure you're not holding any tension. So just make sure there's no tension in the legs, the lower hips. The back, shoulders are soft, the face is relaxed and soft. And the arms relaxed, just sinking into the ground. Eyes closed, breath is regular, breathing is regular. Be aware of the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. So Shavasana helps us assimilate the practice we've had. Quite often, if you're in a yoga class, quite often people will hold Shavasana for quite some time, sometimes 5, even 10 minutes. And it's a challenge just to be here, just to be still. And just check, I just check my shoulders. There's a little bit of tension there, so I'm just trying to relax the shoulders again. We tend to hold tension in the body without realizing it. So I'd like you to bring focus to the hands and just stretch the hands out. And then just make fists with the hands. Clenching the hands, and then stretch them out again, and then clench, and stretch, clench, and stretch, and then just relax the hands, walk the feet in towards you. Pull the knees in, and I'm going to roll over to one side. Usually we roll over to the right side, and then we take a breath or two, and then we come up. I rolled over to the left side just so I'm facing the right direction, but they say roll over to the right side because it's then putting less pressure on the heart, so whether that makes a difference or not, but that's the sort of rationale. Resting the hands on the knees, eyes are closed. And then extend the arms either side of you, palms up. Inhaling as the arms come up. Exhale as they come down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the palms together, palms at the chest. We'll take 2 breaths, 3 ohms. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone.